Welcome you all to today's period where we are going to complete the chapter Ruling the Countryside, chapter 3 from history, which is a part of your PT exam. So in our previous class we have discussed about a new system which was devised in southern India, especially Munro system, and it was also called as Rayodwari system. So this system was initiated by Alexander Reed and Thomas Munro. So according to this system, the riots were, or the cultivators were directly related to the revenue collection. They have to directly pay the revenue to the British. So British officials were appointed to collect the revenue, and then so here no village headmen or no jamindars were involved in this particular system. Cultivators themselves were involved in the revenue collection. Okay, so that is the Munro or Rayodwari system. Then we have also learned that in case of India, the from India, or we can say the Britishers, they were asking the Indian farmers to grow some cash crops and also opium and indigo, especially indigo, and some cash crops like tea, sugarcane, then cotton. Okay, so jute, etc. were asked, and they were also asked to grow the, or they were forced to grow the indigo in the India. Then there was another system which was devised or introduced by the British, that is Tingkhatia system, in which the farmers, they have to utilize their 3/28 part of their land for cultivation of indigo, because indigo was in high demand in European market as well as in British. So that's why the Indian farmers were forced to grow indigo, and there was one system or which was introduced in Khatia system, according to which the peasants, the farmers, the cultivators, they have to use their 3/20th part of land for indigo cultivation, and they are also forced to grow some other cash crop, as I said, and that's why the farmers were left with very less land for production for their own, or we can say for food production. Okay, so this was a problem actually, but the Britishers, they were highly demanding the indigo and other cash crops. That's the reason the farmers were bound to do that, because that time India was under the British rule. And another thing is that British mainly, they wanted the indigo, because in their place the blue color, which was a very great demand, they were using some other product, but that is not much good like that of the indigo, and that's why indigo was forcefully, it was asked or it was forcefully, the cultivators of India had to grow the indigo in India, as well as cotton. So these were in the great demand in European markets, so that they can sell it in higher price, and that's the reason they have asked. And as because the indigo and cotton, they are basically grown in the tropical region and India, which fall in tropical zone, as well as Africa also, some of the parts of Africa. So British, they have developed their colonies in these regions to specially grow the crops which they are required for. So that is what we have discussed in our previous period, and today we are going to discuss about Britain turns to India. This is one topic. Then we are also going to how was indigo cultivated in India. That one also we are going to discuss. Then the problem of niche cultivation. There is two system of cultivation. We will also learn about the problem related to niche cultivation. Then we will also learn about indigo on the land of the riots, how it has been cultivated, and then the Blue Rebellion and after. So that one also we are going to discuss in this particular class. So let's begin with the first one, that is Britain turns to India. So in Europe, the demand for indigo was high. So the company in India looked for ways to expand area under indigo cultivation, because I already said in previous day also that indigo was in high demand in in Europe as well as in Britain. Initially they were getting it in a very less amount even from India and also West Indies and America, but due to some reason in American as well as West Indies indigo, that the production have collapsed. That's why India was left with that. But the high price of indigo was very high, so that's why British, they formed their colonies in the India, so that they can force the cultivators to grow indigo which is in their own market demand. Okay, so in Europe the demand of indigo was high, so the company in India looked for ways to expand the area under indigo cultivation, especially in their colonies. So gradually the indigo trade grew, so commercial agents and the officials of the company began investing in indigo production. So gradually, as the demand for indigo has increased, the trade for indigo has increased. So commercial agents which were related to marketing and all, so and the officials, they themselves have invested in the indigo production, so that the profit they can earn from the indigo selling in the European market. So British officials as well as those who are trade related commercial agents, they themselves invested in the indigo cultivation with the farmers, and so that they can get the enough of the indigo product which are of great demand in European market, and by selling that in Europe and in their own countries, so that they can earn the profit. Then the company officials were attracted by the prospect of high profits and came to India to become indigo planter. So that's why they thought that, as because India is a place where indigo get well cultivated, so the company officials, they were attracted to India prospect. They have seen that India has a great land for indigo cultivation, so they came to India for that reason. The British officials, the company officials, they came to India to become indigo planter. So they have now become the indigo investor, or we can say for cultivation of indigo they have invested and they become the indigo planter. So how was indigo cultivated? Now, how indigo was cultivated in India? Let us see the points. So there were two main systems of indigo cultivation. There were how many? Two main systems of indigo cultivation. One was niche cultivation and another one niche system, and another one was variety system. So within the system of niche cultivation, the planter produced indigo in lands that he directly controlled. So in case of niche cultivation or in case of niche system, the planter, the whoever is especially the British officials, whoever is the planter of always investing in that one, they produce the indigo in the lands he directly controls. So that particular land only they plant or they force the farmers to plant a land which are being under his control. Okay, because British officials are divided into or they are given with different lands to look after. They become the collectors for collecting the revenue also. So the so the British planters, those who produce the indigo with the help of the Indian farmers obviously, so in on those lands only which are under their control. So he either bought the land or rented it from the jamindars. So now that land, the British officials, he either buy the land, he bought the land, or he might have taken rent of that particular land piece from the jamindars. So any of the two they could do. One was either he was owning the land after buying it, or he can take it in rent from the jamindars, and produce indigo by directly employing hired laborers. So he directly is involved in the planting. So in niche system means everything was done by the planter only. He either he bought the land, or maybe he has taken the land in rent from the jamindars, and he himself is involved in managing the labors and cultivation process. Entire cultivation process were under his monitor. So he has the particular office planter or company official were involved for, and he employed he or that particular planter in employing the hired laborers and so he himself is directly owning the land, or he himself is directly managing the land for indigo cultivation. That is niche cultivation. And under niche cultivation, the planter found it difficult to expand the area. Indigo could only be cultivated on fertile lands. That is also another thing, that indigo can be only cultivated in good fertile land. So that's why it was difficult to expand very quickly, to because it is difficult to find fertile land everywhere. So it was difficult, it was a planters found it difficult to, under niche cultivation they found difficult to expand the land, because indigo could be only cultivated in the fertile land. And then planters attempted to lease land around the indigo factory and evict the peasants from the area. So now planters, they attempted to get the land from the peasants, and they evict the peasants from the area. The problem with the niche cultivation. What are various problems related to the niche cultivation? So in niche cultivation on a large scale also required many plows and bullocks. They, for plowing also they need large number of plows as well as bullocks. Till the late 19th century, planters were therefore reluctant to expand the area under niche cultivation. So as because it was, the cultivation is not an easy process. We know already, if tilting is required, plowing is required, then bullocks are required, then entire process needs a very hard work, a labor consume, or we can say labor intensive work it is. So that's why till the late 19th century, the planters who were initially, because of the profit, they have involved themselves under the niche cultivation. So they found it difficult to carry forward with the cultivation of indigo, because fertile lands are less there, and it is also labor intensive work. They have to it is very much they find it difficult to expand the area under niche cultivation. Then indigo on the land of riots. Another system is indigo on the land of riots. So as we have seen that there were two systems for indigo cultivation. One was the niche cultivation, where the planter or the British officials who became the planter, who is the investor, he either bought the land or he took it in rent from the jamindars, and he hired the laborers, and the entire agricultural process or cultivation process was being conducted. And another one is the indigo on the land of riots. Means it was the planters who is again involved here, but they asked the riots or the cultivators to do the indigo cultivation. So the planters under the riotty system were forced to sign a contract. So planters under the riotty system were forced to sign a contract, an agreement, sakta, which is known as. Those who signed the contract got cash advances from the planters at low rates of interest to produce indigo. So in this particular system, the cultivators were they are doing the cultivation of indigo, but for that reason they have to sign a contract with the planter who is involved or who is mainly related to the indigo cultivation. So he the cultivators, they have to sign one contract, an agreement or sakta, according to which they get cash advances from the planter at low interest rate, where by to cultivate or to produce indigo. So here the cultivators were cultivating the indigo by getting the cash advances from the planters after signing a contract and at low interest for cultivation of indigo. So indigo on the land of riots, again we will continue. When the harvested crop was delivered to the planter, a new loan was sanctioned to the cultivators or the riots, and the cycle starts all over again, and again the same system procedure follows, because indigo was in high demand, and that's why once it is harvested, then for the second one again the agreement was sanctioned, or again they are getting another advance cash or loan for at low interest for cultivation of indigo for the next section. So and cycle starts all over again. Peasants soon realized how the loan system was. after an indigo harvest, the land could not be sown with rice. They only have to grow indigo. Once it is harvested, they cannot, because initially they thought that like maybe the peasants, the riots, they thought that only once they will have to cultivate the indigo, but later on they have understood the system that once they are paid with the advances for growing of indigo, and once it is harvested, the same piece of land should be again utilized for indigo cultivation. They cannot produce any other crop like rice, which was in great demand in India, because rice is our staple food. Even they cannot grow that one. So the Blue Rebellion and after. So riots in Bengal refuse to grow indigo now, because they have to grow other crops as well. If they will only grow for the Europeans, for the Britishers, that is indigo or other cash crop, then how they will survive? They have to grow the food crops as well. So the riots in Bengal, the cultivators in Bengal, they refuse to grow indigo. People who worked for the planter were socially boycotted, and if anyone from the cultivators, of anyone from Bengal who was supporting the who were working for the planters, of the planters means it is the British officials, so they were boycotted socially. And the uh, go-masters, agents of the planters, who are known as go-masters, who came to collect rent, were beaten up. If anybody have now, the cultivators or the riots, they have formed a united group, and they thought that if anybody from the British, they came or they come for collection of the rent, then they will beat the particular person from for that reason. So whoever came to collect the rent were beaten up, and the Bengal riots had the support of the local jamindars. Now in that moment, even the local jamindars were also supporting the riots, the cultivators, and village headmen in their rebellion against the planters, even the headmen of the village also, because it was injustice for the farmers, because they had to grow other crops also, but British are only forcing them to either grow indigo or other cash crops. They were not leading the, or they were not allowing the farmers to grow any other crop like food crops. So that's why even the local jamindars as well as the village headmen for every village of also were in support with the riots or the cultivators. Now the Blue Rebellion. Rebellion means it's totally against. They are against the blue means it is indicating the indigo. Okay, so Blue Rebellion means indigo cultivation against the indigo cultivation. So the indigo peasants believed that the British government would support them in their struggle against the planters. So even they thought that British government will support, because planters were doing it for their own sake, for their own profit. So they thought that British government would support them in their struggle against the planters. After the revolt of 1857, the British government was worried about the possibility of the other popular rebellion. So there was a revolt of 1857. So after that, British government was also a little bit worried about the possibility of the another popular rebellion or war. As the rebellion spread, the intellectuals from the Calcutta rushed to the indigo districts. So as the rebellion was spread, even the intellectuals from Calcutta, now presently Kolkata, they also rushed to indigo districts where the indigo were being cultivated. And the government set up the Indigo Commission to inquire into the system of indigo production, and the commission asked the riots to fulfill their existing contracts, but also told them that they could refuse to produce indigo in future. So there was a Indigo Commission which was set up, which was formed because it was a great rebellion against the British, because especially the British planters, because the farmers refused to grow indigo, and that's why the government, they has to set up an Indigo Commission to inquire the system. And the commission asked the riots, the cultivators, to fulfill the existing contracts which they have already signed, but also told them that they could refuse the indigo production in from the next contract. They can refuse to grow indigo. The action that has collapsed in Bengal after the revolt of 1857, even the British government was where they were in a little bit worried about the possibility of other popular rebellion. As the rebellion spread, the intellectuals also from Calcutta, they rushed to the indigo districts. Now government, they have set up one commission to inquire the system of the indigo production. Then indigo production that has collapsed in Bengal because the riots, they refused to grow indigo. And then when Mahatma Gandhi, he came from Africa, South Africa, a peasant from West Bengal, a peasant from Bihar, he persuaded him, he met him, and he insisted, or he told Mahatma Gandhi to visit the Champaran area and see the plight of the indigo cultivator. Plight means the difficult situation of the indigo cultivators, because they had to produce indigo, they were not even producing the other, allowed to produce other crops. So the miserable condition of the indigo cultivators were being so that he was asked to visit to see the difficult situation of the indigo cultivators. Now in 1917 he visited the area, and which marked the beginning of the Champaran movement. So Champaran movement is against the indigo planters. Okay, so it was after Mahatma Gandhi who visited the Champaran area in 1917. He had visited that, and that was marked as the beginning of the Champaran movement, which was against the indigo planters who were profitizing their from the indigo cultivation by the different system, either niche system or royalty system. But later on, the riots or the farmers, they refused to grow indigo, and that has led to the Champaran movement, which was initiated when the Mahatma Gandhi visited Champaran. He saw the condition of the riots, and it was marked as the beginning of the Champaran movement, which was against the indigo planters. So that is all for today's class, and this is the end of the chapter. I'll be sending you the question answers. Please go through the notes and question answers and prepare well for the PT exam. Okay, so in between, if you have any doubt, queries, you can call me during your summer vacation also. So thank you, students.